The gym doors creak open and Isaiah steps inside. His sneakers scuff against the polished floor, drawing stares. Someone snickers. What is he even doing here? A boy in a varsity jacket leans back on the bleachers, his tone mocking. Those shoes look like they've seen more games than he has. Laughter ripples through the room, echoing off the high ceilings. Isaiah doesn't flinch. He walks to the center of the court, clutching an old basketball under one arm. His jaw tightens, just enough to betray emotion before he masks it again. "Hey man, you lost. This ain't no charity case," another voice shouts. Isaiah stops, but doesn't turn around. Instead, he sets the ball down gently, tying his battered laces with deliberate care. The laughter fades into uneasy murmurs as people watch him move. With quiet purpose. "You think this is funny?" Isaiah finally speaks, his voice low but cutting through the noise like a knife. He doesn't raise it, doesn't shout. That's what makes the words land harder. The gym falls silent for half a breath. Then another voice pipes up nervously, trying to fill the void. "I mean, come on, dude, you can't hoop in those." Isaiah straightens, turning slowly to face them. His eyes scan the crowd, locking onto each smirking face. There's no anger there, just something sharper, colder. Purpose wrapped in silence. He bends down, picks up the ball and starts dribbling. The rhythmic bounce fills the quiet gym, steady and unbroken. For the first time, no one laughs. Marcus strides forward, his sneakers gleaming white against the dull sheen of the gym floor. He's grinning, confident, loving the attention. As he approaches Isaiah, the other kids part like a curtain, giving him space to perform. "So," Marcus says, loud enough for everyone to hear, "you really think you can play in those? Might as well go barefoot." He tosses a sneer over his shoulder at the others, who chuckle obediently. Isaiah keeps dribbling, his movements smooth and unhurried. He doesn't look at Marcus, doesn't acknowledge him, at least not right away. When he finally does, it's with a calmness that unnerves Marcus more than any glare could. "You got something to say?" Isaiah asks, his voice level. Marcus hesitates, thrown off by the lack of reaction. But he recovers quickly, leaning in closer. "Yeah, I'm saying you don't belong here. Maybe stick to watching instead of wasting our time." The words hang in the air, heavy and loaded. Isaiah pauses, letting the ball rest under his palm. Then, without breaking eye contact, he says softly, "I don't need new shoes to beat you." The room goes still. Someone coughs awkwardly. Marcus blinks, caught off guard, then forces a laugh. We'll see about that. But there's a flicker of doubt in his expression now, a crack in the armor he didn't know existed. Isaiah turns away, ignoring Marcus completely. He moves to the free throw line, bouncing the ball once, twice before releasing it. Swish! The sound cuts through the tension like a blade. Behind him, whispers break out among the crowd. "Did you see that shot?" "Yeah, but still, he's got guts, I'll give him that." Isaiah hears none of it, or pretends not to. What matters is the rhythm of his breathing, the weight of the ball in his hands, the way his muscles coil and release with every movement. On the court, nothing else exists. Coach Grayson stands near the door, arms crossed, watching silently. He doesn't intervene, doesn't defend Isaiah, but there's a flicker of unease in his expression. Isaiah grabs the ball again, dribbling slowly, deliberately. Each bounce echoes louder than the last, until the entire gym seems to hold its breath. The apartment is small, the walls thin enough to hear every creak from the hallway. Isaiah sits at the kitchen table, his mother across from him, sipping coffee that's gone cold. She's tired. Her scrubs are still on, even though her shift ended hours ago. "You sure you don't want me to get you new ones?" she asks, nodding toward the shoes by the door. They're held together with duct tape and hope. Isaiah shakes his head. "I'm fine, Ma. Really." She doesn't push, but her eyes linger on the worn-out sneakers before she looks away. Outside, the flickering streetlight buzzes like a broken heartbeat. Isaiah grabs his ball and heads out, leaving her alone with the silence. Flashback. Freshman. Year tryouts. The gym smells like sweat and polished wood. Isaiah stands at the baseline waiting for his turn. When it comes, he nails shot after shot, but the coach barely glances up. Next, the coach calls, dismissive. Later, in the locker room, teammates whisper about quotas and favoritism. One kid mutters loud enough for Isaiah to hear, "They only let him stay because they have to." Isaiah clenches his fists, but says nothing. Instead, he ties his laces tighter and walks out, vowing never to give them the satisfaction of seeing him break nighttime. Isaiah practices under a flickering streetlight while nearby scouts cheer on white players at a tournament. Their gear gleams under stadium lights. Sponsors' logos shine like badges of belonging. Isaiah watches from afar, unnoticed, until someone finally notices and laughs. "Look at this guy," one scout says, pointing. "What's he gonna do with those rags?" Isaiah doesn't respond. He just keeps shooting hoops, each swish louder. Then their mockery. A teacher pulls Isaiah's mom aside during parent-teacher night. Her tone is casual, almost kind, but the message cuts deep. "Maybe sports aren't the best path for him," she says. "Have you considered vocational training? Something practical?" Isaiah overhears from around the corner. His chest tightens, but he forces himself to breathe evenly. Practical, right, because dreams don't pay bills. Guidance counselor meeting. Isaiah sits stiffly as phrases float around him. Well-rounded candidates, leadership potential, you know what. He does know. He feels it in the way the counselor avoids eye contact, in the awkward pauses between words meant to sound neutral but land like stones. "You'll do great things," the counselor finishes weakly, patting Isaiah's shoulder. Like it's an afterthought, Isaiah nods, standing to leave. As he walks out, he hears another student ask, "What did he want?" "Oh, just checking boxes," the counselor replies, laughing lightly. Marcus corners Isaiah in the hallway, smirking. "Nice outfit. Did you dig it out of a dumpster?" Isaiah doesn't rise to the bait. Instead, he walks past Marcus, letting his game speak for itself later that day when he sinks three-pointers effortlessly during practice. Spectators whisper among themselves. "Did you see that crossover? No way he's using hand-me-downs." Marcus hears too and scowls, gripping his own pristine sneakers tighter. After school, Isaiah challenges Marcus to a one-on-one game. "Loser buys dinner," he says simply. Marcus grins confident. "Fine, let's go." They play hard, fast, and brutal. Isaiah moves like water, slipping through defenses effortlessly despite his tattered shoes. With seconds left, he sinks. The winning shot. Marcus freezes, humiliated, then storms off without a word. A college recruiter visits town. He scans the crowd, dismissing Isaiah immediately. "Dress code matters, son," he says curtly. But when drills begin, Isaiah dominates. Another student films the recruiter's face as realization dawns. He underestimated Isaiah. The video goes viral overnight, sparking outrage and discussion about racial bias in athletics. Whispers grow louder in the community. Friends distance themselves from Marcus, uncomfortable with his arrogance now exposed. Institutions start re-evaluating policies, though progress is slow. Isaiah sees it all quietly, knowing change begins not with noise, but with steady steps forward. Isaiah sits on the bench, tying his battered laces with deliberate care. Each knot feels like a promise, to himself, to his mom working double shifts, to everyone who ever doubted him. Around him, the gym buzzes with reporters and cameras trained on Marcus. "They're calling it a joke," Marcus says into a microphone, smirking. "A nobody against us. Please." Isaiah doesn't look up. He focuses on the rhythm of his breathing, the weight of the ball in his hands. The laughter from years ago echoes faintly in his mind, but now it fuels him. Halftime. The locker room is quiet except for the sound of Isaiah's voice. His teammates sit slumped, exhausted, until he speaks. "They laughed at us, not because we were weak, but because they were scared. Isaiah's tone is calm but firm, cutting through the tension like a blade. Tonight, we will show them why. One teammate nods, then another. Slowly, resolve spreads through the group. They aren't just playing for themselves anymore. They're playing for every kid told they didn't belong. Let's go, Isaiah says simply, standing. No speeches, no theatrics, just purpose. The game resumes. Isaiah moves like water, slipping past defenders with precision. Marcus tries to guard him, frustration mounting as each move leaves him behind. The crowd shifts, first skeptical murmurs, then stunned silence, and finally awe. He's unstoppable, someone whispers. Marcus grits his teeth, sweat dripping down his face. For the first time, doubt creeps into his expression. Each step Isaiah takes feels like justice served silently. One crossover, one shot, one moment at a time, seconds left on the clock. Isaiah catches the inbound pass, dribbles once, twice, then rises for the shot. Swish. The buzzer sounds. Marcus collapses to his knees, breathless, not just from exhaustion, but from realization. His arrogance crumbles under the weight of truth. Isaiah wasn't just better, he was undeniable. In the locker room later, Marcus stares at his reflection, seeing not the star player he once was, but a shadow of privilege crumbling beneath its own hubris. After the game, reporters swarm Isaiah, microphones thrust toward him. He declines to gloat or taunt Marcus. Instead, he thanks his family, coaches, and community calmly. "I didn't come here to prove anyone wrong," he says, his voice steady. "I came here to show what's possible when you refuse to let hate define you." His words hang in the air, resonating deeply with those listening. Spectators react differently. Some cheer wildly for Isaiah, others whisper among themselves about Marcus's downfall. Friends distance themselves slowly, avoiding eye contact. One former teammate mutters, "Guess we misjudged him." It isn't cheers or jeers, it's silence, heavy and loaded, signaling the end of an era. Later, alone in the locker room, Marcus stands before the mirror. He sees not the confident athlete he used to be, but a hollow shell of privilege falling apart. The crown that once fit perfectly now feels too heavy, slipping from trembling hands. "The crown fit perfectly," he mutters bitterly, staring at his reflection, "until it fell apart." Marcus sits alone in his dimly lit apartment, the glow of the TV casting shadows across his face. On screen, Isaiah's NBA debut unfolds, smooth crossovers, flawless shots, and roaring crowds. Marcus grips the remote tightly, knuckles white as silent tears stream down his cheeks. "I should have known," he mutters, voice barely audible over the broadcast. His phone buzzes on the table. A recruiter's name flashes, but he ignores it. Calls have grown fewer lately, each one a reminder of what he's lost. Outside, whispers follow him wherever he goes. Friends who once laughed with him now avoid eye contact. Privilege, once his throne, now feels like a prison closing in. Isaiah steps onto the cracked pavement of the old community court, sneakers stacked neatly in boxes at his feet. Kids gather around, wide-eyed and eager. He kneels to hand a pair to a boy wearing worn-out shoes, just like his own years ago. "It's not about the shoes," Isaiah says, his tone calm but firm. "It's about the heart." The boy nods, clutching the sneakers tightly. Around him others whisper excitedly, inspired not just by the gift, but by the man giving it. Isaiah watches them play, seeing pieces of himself in their determination. "He gave them more than sneakers," an older coach remarks nearby. "He gave them belief." Before a big game, Isaiah sits alone in the locker room, staring at his pristine NBA-issue sneakers. Memories flood back, the laughter, the jeers, the flickering streetlights under which he practiced late at night. He runs a finger along the sleek design, then looks up, smiling faintly. "They laughed at my shoes once," he murmurs to himself. "Now the whole world watches me run." A knock at the door pulls him from his thoughts. A teammate pokes his head in, calling him to join warm-ups. Isaiah stands, tucking the memory away for another quiet moment. As he walks out, his steps are steady, purposeful, each one carrying the weight of how far he's come. In gyms, classrooms, and community centers, Isaiah's story sparks conversations. Coaches rethink tryout policies. Teachers challenge coded language in meetings. Leaders push for equity where there was none before. Change is slow, incremental, but undeniable. At a local high school, a guidance counselor shows students a clip of Isaiah's rise. "See this?" she says, pointing to the screen. "One person can shift the narrative." Later, a young player ties his new sneakers, inspired by Isaiah's journey. Small shifts ripple outward, signaling hope, not perfection, but progress. One boy's triumph became a mirror reflecting society's flaws and its potential. Isaiah's journey reminds us that resilience can spark change, not just for one person, but for an entire community. His story challenges us to see beyond stereotypes and fight for a world where talent triumphs over bias. If this story moved, you help it reach further. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Give it a like to show your support, and subscribe so we can continue bringing stories that inspire action. Together, let's turn these moments of reflection into real-world momentum for justice and equality.